Welcome back. It's Peace Fuzz, and we're back again with the high school preview episode this week. We're getting into it today. It's the opening day of high school practice. It's the open window. It's been a long waiting period for a lot of these guys. I know it's still a little cold out, but getting out and seeing the
raining never fails. First
day, rain, fog, 45 degrees. You can't beat it. But we wanted to get you guys hyped for a little bit of another great high school season. I put out a post yesterday that we're excited for the season, going to get out and see a ton of games. So we really wanted to talk about our Power 25 today. We're going to jump right into it next week with the top 10 and alongside of our preseason all-state teams, also alongside the preseason watch list for player of the year. And it's also Super 60 week. So we have all kinds of information this week. But back to the Power 25, like I just mentioned, we're going to jump into 25 through 15 today, and we're going to mention some of the bubble teams as well. And just jumping right into that, Huddy, let's talk about some of those bubble teams first off.
Yeah, there's so many of these that just it's one of the hardest things that we do to start the season, especially is that Power 25, because there's always teams like last year, like Grayson and Brookwood that turned it on, pretty much the whole season. And made such a big run. So some of these bubble teams that I'm keeping an eye on, I think Tift County is going to be the first one. We were just talking about it. They're going through a gauntlet of a region. So I think if they get hot, win some games in that region, I think that gives them a lot of momentum headed into the playoffs. And one kind of outside, looking in that I think Coach Core over at Denmark has some young guys coming up that didn't get a lot of playing time last year, but could have really big impacts this year. Guys like Travis Wallace that we just got to see at preseason All-State, big power bat that could really do a lot of damage in the lineup. And then you look at future gamer Sebastian Walsh, a lot of pitchability lefty, Curtis Mayer as well. That's kind of going to be their 1-2 punch on the mound. And then they got Jack Powell is another one, probably play over at third for them. And then a big piece for them is going to be Alex Thompson moving over. Had to move, and he's going to be over there now from South Forsyth, Air Force commit. So him and Jason Williams, I'm assuming, will be up the middle. I'm not for sure, but I mean Thompson could slide over to third, and Powell could probably slide over to first. So a lot of good stuff Coach Core has going on there with a really young group that could get rolling in that Forsyth heavy region.
Yeah, not to mention they still have Gino Gorowski in center field who hit nearly 500 last year for this team and is now a junior and looking to lead this club to an even farther run in the playoffs here in 2025. But a couple teams for me, man. Harrison, a team that really overachieved last year, coming off a 9-win season. I think they won almost 20 games last year. They're bringing a lot of good quality pieces back, like 2026 lefty Colin White, as well as adding 2027 Jack Johnson, a guy we're really high on here, top 10 in our class, going to be a big arm for them as well, get some outfield time. And they have a ton of pieces, whether it's in the bullpen or the rotation, that's going to be big for them and win big games in another region. It's going to be tough. And then another team, Laster. We have a Super 60 participant leading the rotation, and DJ McDowell is going to be huge. Last year he was kind of coming back from injury and never was really fully healthy throughout the year. And I think we're going to see like a different performance from him this year, along with bringing a lot of big bats for them back. And they have some guys like Caden Lindsay and Caden Fox, two huge 6'6" guys who've got massive power. Also have juice on the mound as well. And I think they're going to be a fun team to watch heading into the year.
Yeah, Caden Lindsay, I've been seeing some stuff on him. I think he's kind of made that jump on the mound. Going to be a upper 80s, even low 90s lefty for him, and also play a role with the bat as well. And for them, it's always, they always have some really strong, senior leader type players, guys like Preston Dean, Parker Wilson, and then they got a couple of young guys coming up behind the dish as well with Kyle Montgomery and Chase Campbell. Laster is definitely a team to keep an eye on. A couple more bubbles here. I mean, Brookwood didn't crack into the top 25. I think just the arms that they lose is the biggest thing for them. But, man, they got a really strong lineup coming back with Matic Rojazinski, Boomer Rojazinski, Alex Reyes, Ryan Morris. Colin Robinson is a guy that I really liked. We got to see him over the fall. So I think he could kind of crack into that lineup and be a big piece for them moving forward. I think for bubble wise, like I said, you could go on and on with this list. Guys like Prince Avenue, back-to-back state champs. I think they got a little bit to prove this year with losing some guys with with Georgia Tech commit Judson Hartwell leading the way for them, Ben Chatham behind the plate. I think they're a team to watch. Another tough region. They're going to stack up against Hebron Christian, who we talked about cracking in here as well, with Dean Livingston leading the way from him. And I've heard he's got some electric stuff going on this offseason. So I've heard some 97s from him, which would be crazy to see. We talked to him a little bit at the Gwinnett Media Day. Man, I think those are kind of the main bubbles. Like there could be a ton more in the mix. This preseason list is always super tough, but we're excited to get things rolling.
I mean, even a team like Franklin County, before we move on here, they have the best player in the state and Ty Peoples. They bring back almost a full lineup and a full rotation. I think they're going to be in a winnable region as well. And I think they have a chance to really make a run this year with a lot of seniors looking to make their mark on what's been a quality 4 years for that team. But yeah, let's just jump right into this top 25 here. We're going to start at 25, obviously. We're going to start with Newnan. A team that we were really high on last year. They went on a huge run and finishing the year 27-3. They bring back a lot of quality pieces on this. Yeah, we're leading off with Dax Kilby, man. A Clemson commit, one of the multiple Clemson commits in this Georgia 2025 class, alongside Jackson Taylor, Eston Simpson, also 2026 arm. And Carson Abnabik, future gamer as well. So they know how to pick him here in Georgia. But he leads the pack for this Newnan squad alongside Hayes McGinnis, a two-way performer we just saw at preseason All-State a few weeks ago, who is going to be huge, probably as the one for them, as well as slotting in at second base and providing a big role for them. I think he walked more than he struck out last year. He hit about 400. I think he had a sub 1.5 ERA on the mound. I think the sky's kind of the limit for him as one of the top 5 players in the class.
Yeah. Moving right along, we'll jump into number 24 here. And at 24, we're going to have Coach Flo and the North Hall Trojans. For those guys, man, it's a winning culture over there. They know how to win ball games. We're in a tough region last year with Bluff and North Oconee, I believe. But I think they got a lot of big pieces coming back. A lot of really well-rounded ball players, including seniors. Mills Lothridge, Wallace Dothan commit that's going to do a lot of two-way time for them. Throws a lot of strikes on the mound. Left-handed pitcher Caleb Campbell Payton will be one of their main guys in the rotation. Low 80s lefty, throws a lot of strikes, and they're going to have lefties all throughout the season on the mound as well. And then following up with Caleb Sexton, recent VMI commit, one of the most competitive pitchers in the state, in my opinion. He just goes right at you. He's mid 80s, low 80s in the zone. He's going to fill up the bottom of the zone and throw 3 pitches for strikes. So I think they got a lot of good stuff going on. In the lineup, they'll have catcher Kenny Foudy with a new addition of catcher Branson Crawford going back over to North Hall. And so just having those two rotating behind the dish is going to be huge. A catcher, catchers are always hard to come by, especially having 2 of the top ones in the state. Micah Jimerson will be big in the lineup. Jake Beard is going to be one of their big pieces. I think if he can step up on the mound, he's a mid 80s righty. I think that, they could really put together a strong season. And then not to mention one of your favorite guys in the freshman class, and that's Thomas Davis. I think he's going to have a chance to play early as a freshman, both in the field and on the mound. So look for the guys over at North Hall to make a good run this season.
Yeah, I think it's going to be their year, and also one of the best ballparks we have here in the state as well. But jumping in,
I didn't even mention Smith McGarvey as well. Got to throw him in there. QB1 for him. Lefty, we just saw at preseason All-State up to 86. So, like I mentioned, they're going to have a 1-2-3 punch with Smith McGarvey, Caleb Sexton, and Campbell Payton on the mound.
That's all the pieces and the depths to really make a run in that region. But let's just keep going here. And here at 23, we'll have the Coffee Boys, one of our favorite teams from South Georgia, return a ton of pieces at the top with a couple of Mercer commits, Michael Strickland and Ben Fussell, who will provide huge two-way upside for this team, both as a 1-2 punch on the mound and providing big bats in the lineup as well. Underclassmen Gavin McElroy is going to be huge for them as a 28, who's going to be big, both in the outfield, and I think we'll find some time, whether it be in the bullpen or in the rotation as well. Connor Stewart is a big bat at third base for them. They didn't lose too many pieces from this team that made a run last year. They ran into a pretty good McIntosh team in the playoffs last year that knocked them out. But I think this team in South Georgia, they bring a coach with a ton of upside. They replaced their coach. bring a guy up from Florida with 555 wins in his career. He's got some USA baseball experience and a really winning upside, and I think it's going to fit well in this culture of hard work that we have in Coffee County. I think they're a team that's going to really shock some teams and make a run this year.
Yeah, definitely. They got a lot of good bats coming back. Really, I mean, the biggest thing for a lot of these teams, I think, is these committed seniors. They're there to go out on top. Not a lot of pressure going on for them with playing at the next level, all that good stuff. So I think that they're going to put together a really good season. And then coming in at 22, we're going to go with Walton. You can never count out Walton. Losing some big arms last season, but I think that just with the bats that they have coming back, I think that they're going to be able to put together a strong season. And Highland Brown is a guy that we've really liked over the last, we've seen him a while, the last 3 years, but he's battled some injuries. But I think he's finally back. So he's going to be really big for them on the mound. Wofford commit Caden Gilstrap on the mound as well. And then in that lineup, you'll have Jackson Taylor, Clemson commit, Parker Desto, Mercer commit. And then from there, the pieces just continue to flow in with Walker Killamette, Todd Haley doing both for them, Devin Crone, who we just got to see, Weston Chin, who we just got to see, and then Logan Weidman as well. And they got some young guys coming up with Dom Rossi, one of the top catchers in that 28 class as well on the mound. So I think that, just with the upper class group that they have, I mean, it's pretty much going to be an all upper class group unless Dom sneaks in every now and then. Look for the Walton Raiders to have a successful year in 25.
Yeah, I think they have the pieces to do it again. Again, another tough region for them. 6A is going to be kind of a bloodbath throughout the year, and I think it's going to be fun to watch that team as Walton seems to always have a 25-plus win team put together every year. Moving right along here, 21, we're going to follow up with the 2A following the defending 2A state champions in North Cobb Christian. Losing some big pieces, whether it be on the mound with Asher Sabam or in the field with the guys like Michael Molinax and Jackson Ugla, but they return a ton of pieces. They have one of the most athletic outfields maybe in the state that brings a ton of upside as well with J.D. Offerhide, Austin Tambora, and Carson Bruce, who three sophomore who are going to play every day in the outfield. They have a ton of power, hit bat to balls there as well, and they can also provide some speed on the bases. I think JD and Austin are both 6'6", 6'5" guys already in this class. Some other pieces with Hudson Newell is going to be big behind the plate. They have massive power and a couple seniors, and Spears Martin, who just came off a monster season in football for them as a middle linebacker, and Riley Hutchinson, a JUCO commit who put on an absolute show in BP when we saw him this past summer. I think his first 4 balls that he touched left the field at 100 plus. I think those two will provide huge bats for them in this lineup. 2A is going to be tough again. There's some regions that will be really hard, especially with the 18-team region that we'll talk about later in the season. But I think they have the pieces. They're young. They have the upside, and they know how to win, especially coming off a state championship. And I think North Cobb Christian will be a team that we're going to have to watch as one of the best in 2A again this year.
Yeah, I could see them really climbing up the board pretty quick, especially if those 27s. The biggest thing with those 27s is that they gained so much experience last year as freshmen. They have a lot of confidence coming in to 2025. Jumping up into the 20s or right at 20, we'll go with North Forsyth. This is a team that I really liked last year and pretty much returning their whole group with 8 commits on that team, which is probably some of the most in the state. So it's going to be an all upper class group pretty much for them throughout the whole season. They could probably see some younger guys sneak in there here and there, but the rotation is what I really like. It's really 3, 4, 5 arms that are going to eat up the bulk of their innings, and that's going to be Braden Siebold, Braden Weems, Ellis Aldridge, Seth Dixon, and Sam Moore. All committed players there. Siebold is a guy that I've really liked over the last few years. He throws a ton of strikes, upper 80s, low 90s arm. And then Braden Weems, one of the most competitive guys, kind of a Caleb Sexton type that we talked about a few minutes ago. He's going to come right at you from the left side. And then Seth Dixon, who has some of the most upside in the class with some of the most, just straight arm talent. Tons of arm speed. He'll play shortstop as well for them. So be on the lookout for them. I think that it's a close-knit group that's been playing together for a while. Lineup-wise, we'll have Brady Holbrook. He'll be on the mound as well. Not sure if he'll start or come out of the pen. And then Bryson Germanenko and Ozzie Patterson behind the dish, probably splitting time there. So, yeah, for me, it's Sam Moore as a closer as well. For really, this region is what's going to be interesting to me. It kind of goes back to what it used to be when I was in high school, that all Forsyth region with Denmark, South, Forsyth Central. So those guys always compete against each other. So we'll see what they got in that region. But I think they're a team that to definitely be on the lookout for, who lost to potentially one of the best teams in the state in Blessed Trinity last season in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a team. When you have a group of arms like that can give you 5 innings every single night, and you bring in a guy like Sam Moore, who's kind of an outlier fastball. There's 20 plus inches of ride. He was up to 92 in the fall. There could be even more in the tank with him. So I think that's going to be exciting to watch with that team. But breaking into the top 20 is a team that we're really high on heading into the spring. They have all the pieces to win. Again, you just have to do it on the field. You can talk about it on paper, but you have to see it. But I think this is a team in Carolton that's going to make a run and have a chance to really compete this year. They return all of their starters from last year and quality arms in that, and John Cobb, Connor Daly, Caden Opperman, and then Caleb Hudson, a guy we talked about a ton last week, is going to be a huge two-way player for them this year, whether it be in the outfield, at second base, as a starter, as a reliever. He kind of does it all. The upside's through the roof as well. They have an SEC commit in Maddox Monsauer in center field, who's got power. He's got speed as a 6'4" runner as well. Caleb Binion in right field. We saw him in the fall as well. He's only improved over the last year, maybe as much as anybody we've seen. He's up to 104 EVs. The body continues to get better. He's athletic. There's arm strength in the outfield as well. Ty Willoughby, it's kind of some of the sneakiest juice in the class for him. He steps to the plate, and it's like 80-plus mile-an-hour bat speed. The balls kind of jump off the barrel. I think he's going to be a big piece that just kind of fills spots for them in the lineup. Landon Eubanks is a senior who returns for them. Hit really well for me when I saw him a few times last year. It's going to be a big piece as an uncommitted senior for them. And I just think they have the guys to win. Behind the plate, they have a senior in Lane Bell, and they have a sophomore in Gunnar Falcon, who I think can really improve and get playing time as a sophomore this year. He has all the tools, can also be a guy in the pen as well. And I think the Trojans are really just loaded in all the right spots. You just have to put it together on the field, and can be one of the teams to watch as they move in here at 19.
Yeah, they're a really good mix of upper class guys, and then they got the 4 underclass guys coming through. Hayden Downs is going to be another guy to keep an eye on with some serious pop in that 27 class. Along with Aiden Rucker, who's just a really solid all-around player that can do a lot for him, run some bases, play outfield late in the game. So Evan Moody is another one for them. I think you got to keep an eye on. We saw him jump really a ton. Whether I guess it was that fall campus tour back like 2 years ago. We saw him get into the upper 80s on the mound, and I think he could go, be one of their two-way guys for them. But yeah, Coach Bianco's got some good stuff going on over in Carolton. Coming in at 18, you can't not have these guys in here, especially after what they did last season, and that's Loganville. Loganville comes in. It's been a team that I got put out of the playoffs by, so they're constantly making playoff runs and doing the same thing year after year. And one thing I think that they have going for them this year is Jordan Johnson, who we just got to see. Jordan Johnson will be back for them on the mound. Didn't get to see him on the mound last season. He's been kind of had a lingering injury and wanted to get healthy. So he's back leading the way for him. We just got to see Caden Howell. Is that right? Right? Caden Howell at East Georgia preseason ID. Really good left-handed bat. Typical Logan hard-nosed type player. And then you have Matt Bernadelli as well. Correct? Who we just got to see at preseason All-State. Look for them to do their same thing, win ball games, find ways to win, and find ways to get back to the state playoffs. I
mean, you say just playoff runs, but they've had 2
state championship runs.
2 three-peats in the last 10 years, which is just outrageous. They have a team full of just straight gamers. And I think, like you mentioned, they bring a ton of guys back, and you can't not have them in the top 25 here.
And I was at the game where they had to face Eston, Simpson,
Yeah.
Clemson commit to get to the next round. And man, they had zero momentum all game. Eston had them shut down, and all of a sudden they catch a tiny bit of momentum late in the game. A little error happened, and next thing you know, the floodgates open, and they're on to their next
Small
state
ball.
championship. So
I mean,
that's just
even
how
the
it goes.
team
Yeah,
they beat.
bunts. Yeah, small ball. Bunts them to death. Knows how to play the game, and that obviously, shows that you can win games in the state of Georgia if you know how to play the game.
I mean, even the team they beat in the state championship, Cartersville was widely seen as one of the best teams in 5A last year. They went down a game in the state championship series. So being 0-1, one of the best teams in the state, to come back, win 2 straight with small ball, not going to hit a bunch of power and just know how to win is as impressive as you're going to find. And moving right along to 17 is a team that we have to put in here as well, who's coming off another impressive run from last year, and that's Grayson, man. They were in one of the hardest regions in the state last year that featured Brookwood and Parkview, which were loaded teams with a ton of senior talent. And this Grayson squad had almost no senior talent and took Lowndes to the state championship series, which was just utterly impressive. They're led by a trio of three bats and arms, honestly, and Alex Espinoza, Landon Arroyos, and then a uncommitted junior, future gamer catcher, Vernon Woodard, who just exploded on the scene last year. Started the year on JV, and the year hitting 470, leading this team to a state championship almost. And now he returns, came off a fall where he started showing some power. The bat to ball is as good as you're going to find behind the plate in the class. The defensive actions are there as well. And I think they're a team that, with returning those 3 guys, that just, the defensive abilities that these two have in the middle in Arroyos and Espinoza is as good as you're going to find. I was at multiple playoff games last year where they won games on diving plays up the middle to just steal surefire base hits to win huge games. Like just a team like Loganville, which is going to be gritty. They also move into a region that looks on paper a lot more winnable than the region they were in last year. So this is a team that is going to have that winning mentality now after seeing that upside last year and seeing what it takes to win, how to do it. I think they're going to be a team that's going to make another run and be right there and making a playoff run in this year in 25.
Yeah, for sure. And we have kind of 3 guys, 3 teams here in a row that are kind of all kind of the same teams. Jumping into number 16 is going to be Harlem. Harlem's put together some of the more impressive win streaks in the state over the last couple years. Last year was 38-1, 10-0 in region. Another, coach that knows how to win games. Kind of the same thing. We got to see them against Calvary Day, and they faced a Vanderbilt commit in Will Hampton. Kind of a cold, rainy day, and they did the same thing. Bunt after bunt after bunt. Move guys over, error happened, and next thing you know, it's 4-0. So they'll have Georgia Southern commit Will Holder coming back for them, kind of leading the way. Peyton Grizzle is another one. I believe he's Harlem. Will Holder is one of those guys that we got to see a lot over the fall with complete game at Lake Point. And he's a two-way guy for him that can contribute on the mound and at the plate for him. Look for Harlem to do more of the same, go on another win streak probably. We'll try to get down there for some of those big matchups with Greenbrier and Evans that they've had in the past in the Augusta area. Count on the Harlem Bulldogs to make it back to the playoffs and make another run.
I think that's an easy one there. 1 loss last year, I believe, in the regular season. Yeah.
Yep.
That's how you do it. And the last thing we're going to talk about here is the 4A state champion, defending 4A state champion in the Stars Mill. A team that lost a ton of pieces last year, but again, knows how to win. They return a huge arm in Kyle Rudolph, Michigan State commit, and also Brock Rain, a 2026 third baseman and closer for them, who has probably one of the more wicked changeups that I've seen in the class and will be massive for them on the mound. They're going to have to replace some pieces in the lineup, but I think this is a team with those 2 arms will be one to watch. And in 4A, when you can compete and hit for power, when you don't have the best lineup in the state coming back, they're going to have to find different ways to win. But I think this is another team to watch that they can do it.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up from the 25 up to 15. We'll kick off number 14 next week and then roll all the way to number 1 So that'll be exciting. We got those on paper here, ready to go. Like I said, these preseason, they change so quickly. It'd be great if, this is how it shapes up, but that's never how it is. So there'll be guys in there that we didn't even have on the bubble and guys in there that don't end up having the seasons that they were hoping for. That's how it always goes. But real quick, we want to touch on the Super 60, just highlighting some of these guys that we have coming. This is a Georgia record for us. We got 7 guys in attendance, a few more that wanted to come, but just couldn't swing it, especially this close to tryouts, which is always tough for us. That's our hardest part with getting guys there. But I'll kick it off with John Stutzer. It's been a guy that's blown up over the last year, future game for us last year. He's going to work out in the outfield and in the infield. He'll probably run a sub 6'5", 60, one of the best athletes in the state, if not the country, with some of his highlights he's had with football the last couple of years. So excited to have him there. Athletes like that always end up performing in the spotlight like a Super 60. Excited to have John there.
Yeah, but I'll be remiss to talk about the 3 arms that are coming. Reed Worley, a guy that's probably been the biggest mover and shaker in our 25 class throughout the whole last year. Started early in the spring, parlayed into a great summer, and then that ended with a All-American game bid. The stuff continued to get better. He's wanting to hit numbers at Super 60. The slider is going to be 83, 85, 3,300 spin. He's going to have a fastball probably up to 93 again. The changeup's developing as well. Again, Cooper Underwood, left-handed arm, who really blew up this summer. Guy we've seen all the way back at junior future games to future games. Excuse me if I'm wrong on that, but will be a Super 60 participant as well. Has talked about being in the low 90s this offseason. The slider's as good as you're going to find. Really spins a curveball as well. Went on a run in the fall for me. Struck out 11 straight guys, which is one of the more impressive outings. And I think he has a chance to be one of the really pop guys at this event. There's always 1 or 2 that really just show out and become a household name overnight. And I think Cooper Underwood is going to have one of those shooter tweets that really goes viral come February 2nd. And then the last guy.
Go ahead. One more arm. No, you got it.
Yeah, the last arm here. Yeah, I mentioned him earlier today. He's fully healthy, and that's DJ McDowell, Tennessee commit, future gamer as well. Looking to complete the 2 major PBR events outside of the All-American game and future games Super 60. I think he's going to be a guy who's going to be in the low 90s, mixing a really good slider and changeup, and a guy who looks the part. The operation's extremely clean and just has that MLB draft upside that can show in a showcase like this. That's going to be the most highly scouted event in the preseason in the country.
Yeah, I just want to throw 2 kind of fun things out there with Worley and Cooper Underwood. They were both on the same junior future game team together, in 2021. So Reed Worley we had at 74 to 76, topping out at 80 in 2021. 2022, he saw a bit of a jump. He was 81, 83, topping out at 85 in 2022. 2023, he was 85, 87, topping out at 89. And then fast forward to now, he's topping out at 92, one of the best sliders in the country. So just guys that like progression. It doesn't matter if you're 14 years old and throwing 72, which will fast forward over to Cooper Underwood, who was 70 to 72, topping out at 73.6 in 2021. This is a 14-year-old, hasn't grown yet. But funny thing with him is he's spinning at 2,300 at 63.3 miles an hour, which is kind of crazy to think about that he can spin it like that. So that's kind of a God-given talent. He can just spin a breaking ball. Spinning at that high, at that low of speed is kind of crazy. But yeah, just kind of fun stuff there with them. And then 2023, fast forward for Cooper, he was 82, 85, topping out at 88. Just really cool progression to see there. Clicking through some of these guys, we finally get a full 4 years of them in our prep baseball system, which is really the first class that's gotten a chance to do that. So it's really cool to see. And then you can't go without mentioning Cannon Golden, prep baseball guys. Our HQ guys posted a graphic of him collecting infinity stones at this point with 2 All-American game appearances and then a Super 60 game appearance or Super 60 showcase appearance. So it's just, I've mentioned it a lot, but it's like just polish from him. Like he's a college ready player, the makeup, the work ethic, the kid, A+ kid, does everything right. He's going to, run a sub 6'5", sub 6'6", 60. He's getting stronger by the day. He probably already got 2 workouts in by now, and probably hitting a third later this afternoon. Just that type of kid. So excited to see him get to Ole Miss and at Super 60. And then last guy, I'll let you roll out one of your favorite guys over the last couple of years. Another huge guy that's skyrocketed up the rankings. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Josh Gibbs, man, has barreled every single baseball that I've seen him hit in the last 2 years. He's about 5'9", 165, could be a little bit bigger than that now. His power from the ground up is as impressive as you're going to find in the class. I think he's going to be a guy who, if he runs well in this Super 60, could be a really blow-up guy. He's kind of the enigma in the class. There's a lot of moving parts of the plate, but he syncs up extremely well. And like I mentioned, he barrels everything, whether it's backside, pull side. He has juice to hit the ball over the fence. He can potentially stick up the middle. I think he's a guy you can possibly play in center field, which could take his ceiling to another level. He's got a ton of upside. The swing is something that's truly a sight to see for the type of power he gets to from that frame. So it's something that's extremely impressive for his game, and he continues to hit. He's been mentioned on Player of the Year for multiple publications. Just the track record is just through the roof with him, and I think that bodes very well when it comes to MLB draft. Teams look at this multiple years of hitting with these summer showcases, these summer events, these travel ball high school season. Like, they look at this track record of hitting, and Josh Gibbs fits that profile to a T.
Yeah, and then one more. We'll kind of play this progression game. It's kind of fun to look at, but that's Terence Bowen. He was on that same Junior Future Games team with Underwood and Worley. But in 2021, he ran a 7.1460. Fast forward to Future Games, he runs a 6.73. Some of the best actions you'll see in the infield. It's not slow. He's super athletic, plays basketball, but it just looks effortless. It just comes out so easy. I think he could end up sticking anywhere on the infield, even at a corner outfield spot. He's going to work out in the infield. So just another kid that's just quiet, goes about his business, looking for him to perform. Those EVs are going to be loud from him. He finds some of the more consistent barrels that we've seen in this 25 class. Nearly snagged a MVP accolade at Future Games. Just missed it. He had a couple really hard hit doubles off the wall that year. So yeah, super excited to have him there. Like I said, having these trifecta with Junior Future Games, and Super 60 is awesome. It's cool for me to see finally getting some full circle moments. So we can't wait to get to Chicago. We'll be running an event on February 1st, which we'll actually just mention real quick. Some of these, the 2028 or 2029s and 2030s is our Rising Stars ID series. And what this does for these kids is exactly this that we've been talking about. We get to see these kids at 13U, 14U. Some of them have developed, some of them have not. Some of them have, good, smooth athletic action. Some do not yet. They're all still developing. But the biggest thing for us is just learning these guys at a young age and being able to follow them throughout their high school career. When we go to high school games, those names stand out that we get to see. Yep. So we'll have Rising Stars East Georgia ID coming up this Saturday back at IVSA in the warm indoor facility. So that'll be a fun day. And then February 17th, school holiday. We'll be out at Lake Point running another ID there. And these IDs qualify, for the Junior Future Games, which we always have a lot of fun putting those teams together. We're always one of the most competitive teams there. The competitive comes out in me. I want to end up winning these games, but still it's a showcase setting. Everybody hits every game. Everybody plays every game. So we'll be looking for about 30 players for that. We'll have 2 Georgia teams. So the process is ongoing with pick IDs, and then leading up to Rising Stars preseason All-State, which has been a really good event for us the last 2 years. We'll have it at Lake Point on March 1st, and that'll be one of our main identifiers for the Junior Future Games. Last year, I think we had 10 players from that event get selected. We're working on adding a couple new ID series over the summer as well. We haven't always offered a Rising Stars event kind of in that June to early July point. So we'll try to get one in there. But yeah, Rising Stars, it's fun to see you guys. We want to try to get out to some spring games in the tournament or at Lake Point in the tournaments, try to get some coverage there. So So yeah, 7th, 8th graders, we want to see you. We want to get you to junior future games and be able to follow you throughout your high school career.
Yeah, it's safe to say spring is here. Whether it's high school baseball, whether it's Rising Stars for the middle schoolers, whether it's Super 60 season, it's time. We are here. And I'd be remiss to mention, if I did mention it earlier, we will be live next week for both the first team and second team preseason all-state squads, as well as our Player of the Year watch list, and 1 through 14 here on the Power 25 live. Could have some guests on the show as well. Could be a little bit of a fun episode. You listen to me ramble over my words a little bit like I'm doing here today, but it's going to be great. I appreciate you guys sitting down with us again today for the high school previews, and we'll be back next week.
Yep. See you then.